Welcome, friends. I'm sure we've met before, but just in case you don't recognize me, let me introduce myself to you again. I'm Risk, but you can call me R. Some say I look young for my age, but I've been around since encouraging that original amoeba to grow legs, step out, develop, and make you what you are today. Maybe that's why, when you young humans come of age, you seem completely unable to resist my daring charms. But when times get tough, you seem very fast to blame me. You human beings are so inconsistent. 1 minute you're flirting with me, and the next you're hitting me with a champagne bottle. Look what happened recently. Many of you decided to trust large sums of money to me. And for some of you, I've helped your adventurous instincts to pay off handsomely. And for others, well, c'est la vie. Then you thought it would be better to measure me. You had thoughts of controlling me. Nice try. You see, there is a little bit of immeasurable mystery in all the wonderful innovations and inventions we created together.
Daddy.
And now, just because you got your fingers singed by another one of your silly global economic crises, you've gone all shy on me. How can you do that when I have been the driving force behind your social, cultural, and economic growth? Without me, you'd probably still be riding donkeys and telephoning with cans and string. It's such an absurdly naive thought that you can exist without me. In fact, by avoiding me and not talking to or about me, you create a situation where I have no choice but to camp on your doorstep. You see, dealing with me is really just all about understanding the times and situations in which you live. So, dare I suggest that it's time to look at things a little more closely and face me? Or is that too risky for you?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Khaled Tawfik, and I'd like to thank you for the opportunity of allowing me to share my thoughts with you. Now, I'm a second-year MBA student, and I'm on the doorstep of finishing my studies. While it's an undoubtedly exciting time, it's also a time that asks fundamental questions of me. Should I take that safe job or start an entrepreneurial venture? Should I go back to the uncertainties of my homeland, Egypt, or should I stay abroad for a little bit and gain some experience? While I am uncertain about the answers to these questions, I am fairly certain about one thing. Throughout my life, my best achievements have always come when I faced the risks that I had to head on and early on. Yet, when I look at the world around me today, I realize that our biggest risk is our failure to do just that. Our biggest risk is that we don't act when we face our greatest risks. And this not only has the potential of increasing the probability of negative consequences, it has the potential of increasing the impact and the magnitude of these consequences. You know, we can look at the financial crisis and our inability to deal with the subprime mortgages until it was too late. We can look at the current economic problems and our inability to deal with the debt until it was too late. We can also look at the revolutions in the Middle East and the government's inability to deal with unhappy populations until it was too late. Yet, we continually do the same mistake. So, we can stand here, and I can challenge the leaders of today and ask them to face these risks and work earnestly to solve the issues, to not saddle our future with the problems. But is it really realistic for us to expect that change without the right incentive systems? So instead, I challenge you, the leaders of tomorrow, and I challenge myself. Are we willing to face these risks? Are we willing to make the tough choices? Are we willing to give up the safe, comfortable, and high-paying jobs to actually build innovative companies, to develop creative policies? I would argue that we should, because the burden is on us. The future is our problem. These problems are our problems. I would also argue that we can, because we don't have the legacy of ideas. We can come with fresh perspectives. We can come with innovative thinking, and we can come with the voice of the new generations. But to do so, I propose we do three things first. Number one, to crowdsource risk management. So, since the advent of the internet, we have learned the power of the collective intelligence. I can go online and ask 1,000 or thousands of my friends and strangers about the merits of a new hotel that I want to visit, or about the suitability of a new candidate that I'd like to hire, or a new contractor that I would like to employ. But yet, risk management in governments, in corporations, and with us individuals still works in silos. What I propose is that all those that face similar issues pool their risk management knowledge and models in confidential industry-wide bodies that would analyze these to help us better understand and mitigate systemic risk. Now, we must be certain of one thing. This will not give us the full picture, and we must be clear that there will be risks that will not be revealed, but it will help us get better understanding of the future risks. Now, imagine this. What if before the financial crisis, all banks had pooled their risk models together? What would have been the impact of that? Number two, I propose we change the incentive systems that currently govern us. The new incentive systems must give all stakeholders a seat at the table. Now, what this means for corporations is that they should not only be steered by their shareholders, but rather by the employees and the communities in which they operate. And by that, I mean shareholdings as well as board governance as well. For the public sector, it means that policies should not only be developed by politicians, lobbyists, and so-called experts, but should directly involve those that are affected most by them, i.e. the end users. And thirdly, I propose we develop a sort of intergenerational contract, which comes with obligations for both sides. For us, the youth, this means that we would indeed deliver on these innovative ideas. And more importantly, we would be willing to face the short-term consequences if that means we have a better long-term result. As for the leaders of tomorrow, that would mean they give us their advice, their mentorship, and their expertise. But more importantly, they would be willing to give us a seat on the table for the major decision-making bodies, advisory boards, and committees. And what that means is that they would be willing to face the risks with us today instead of all of us sweeping them under the rug for the future time. Now, in conclusion, I'd like to leave you with one example where the leaders of tomorrow did do just that. The time was January 2011, and the place was Tahrir Square in Cairo, Egypt. And what I saw during that time were young Egyptian men and women who did face those risks and did take on those risks. They left their comfortable homes, they left their prosperous jobs, and many times risking their bodies and their lives. Why did they do that? Because they knew they had to. Because they knew their leaders were not going to do it for them, and because they knew it would lead to a better future. So the question still remains, leaders of tomorrow. Are we willing to make those tough choices? Are we willing to do something in our own respective worlds and in our own respective capacities? And with that, thank you and welcome to St. Gallen. I hope you have a great 2 days.